Her blush deepens and she ducks her head forward to bury her face deeper beneath her hair. These last few years haven't been kind to me. They haven't been kind to anyone, really. I try not to think of it as personal. I lost my husband and both boys in the Saints' War. My daughter, the legacy took her before she was ever mine. I made two. What else can you do? I moved into a tiny place in Ondra's gift, got by mending clothes and on the kindness of strangers when I had to. But I was surviving and the gods were watching over me. I could live with that. Then one day, this noble woman comes in, wants this fancy gown fixed, gorgeous thing, this shade of blue I'd never seen before. Only I looked at it and it reminded me of something. I had what they call an awakening. I remembered being a noble woman myself in another life. People doting over me, men doting over me. Me, the best food, the most beautiful home, all the things you'd never dare to dream of. They were mine. It was poison, knowing that. All those things I had that I'll never have in this life. It did something to me. My food started to taste rotten. The walls in my life room seemed to close around me. I stopped being able to sleep in my own bed. So I came here. It was that or break into an estate and start ordering servants around. It seems like such a silly thing to worry about. You don't have to tell me, but I can't get past it. And I start to wonder, did the gods choose this life for me? And if so, what terrible thing must I have done to deserve it? Okay, let's talk about something else. Maybe you'll get there again one day, if not in this life, then in another. Maybe the gods took offense to your overindulgence. Nobody deserves to go through what you've gone through. You had it right before. There is nothing to do but live with it. Okay, maybe you'll get there again one day. If not in this life, then in another. The strange part is, I think even the best wouldn't be good enough for me anymore. I think it must have gotten to the point when I was the noble lady. Okay, farewell. Okay, so let's talk with Graham. But before this, okay. Flash construct. Ooh. Yeah, so but someone is here. Okay, we cannot open that. We can open this actually. What about this? Nope. Azo. A round-faced, balding man turns to face you. His upper lip is pulled upward slightly by his pointed nose, exposing his upper teeth when he scowls.
What is the meaning of this?
So Ethelmore told me you are not supposed to be doing any more experiments. Yes, well, Ethelmore hasn't done much good for anybody since he had his soul moved to an inanimate object, so I fail to see why I should let that sway me. If animancers all followed the commands of their leaders, where would we be? We'd all be as backward and willfully ignorant as Red Cirrus. We would know nothing about life or death or even ourselves. We would be lost in the dark with no clues as to why. I never thought I'd find myself in agreement with the statue, but Atom is right about this fellow at least. He sneers at Azo. How easily ambition masquerades as prudence. I'll bet he's fooled even himself. So you toy with things beyond our comprehension is dangerous and foolish, for it seems to me we are still in the dark. Surely there are other paths that don't involve risking lives. You're right about that much. There are certain questions that have to be asked. I have no interest in arguing. Okay. Surely there are other paths that don't involve risking lives.
Indeed. Many lives have been spent in such pursuits, writing treatises and poems. But tell me this, how does one verify the truth of a poem? If some philosopher stumbled across the meaning of our existence, how would we know it from a false one? These are wasted lives. In animancy there is progress. We are measurably closer to complete understanding because of our work. And that will be true until our work is complete.
Okay.
Who will solve Widewen's legacy? Some church? Some warrior? It will be an animancer or it will be no one at all.
So have you tried your experiments on any other subjects? I heard you were demoted. How did it happen? Okay, I'd like access to the Northward. I'm looking for an expert on... Yeah, I'd like access to the Northward. Out of the questions. Those patients are in isolation for a reason. So you can coerce them into your experiments? They all told me everything. Your forehead seems damp all of a sudden. Perhaps I should discuss your insubordination with the head warden? Yeah.
You smug cretin. How dare you come down here and meddle? You have no idea the importance of my research.
He balls up his fist and digs his teeth into his index finger, a growl simmering beneath his breath and deep scowls compressing his face.
Fine. Speak to them for all the good it'll do you. I'm sure the discussions will be fascinating.
He pulls a heavy key from one of his pockets and nearly slams it down on the floor before handing it to you. So have you tried your experiments on any other subjects? No, I heard you were demoted. How did it happen? Azo's nostrils flare and he bares his upper teeth more broadly. That's none of your concern. Did one of the others put you up to this, Oddmare? That smug weasel. Things went wrong. Everything. I don't know how. I'll never know. He spits on the floor as if to remove a bitter taste from his mouth. So have you tried your experiments on any other subjects? I have. Yes. No point in lying about it. Now that Ethelmer's involved, I asked for volunteers from our patients and a few brave souls came forward. I was very close at one time to a breakthrough. They understood that. They understood their sacrifices would mean something. Okay, so I'm looking for that one we already did. Yeah, let's yeah, we're gonna
simple test.
Yeah, one lockpick. We have breakout preservation, fine. Minus stun. Okay. Good setting material. And we are... So where? There's a patient. Another patient. Yeah, let's loot first. Everything there is to loot. Oil. Flash constructs. They look so menacing. Ooh, lockpicks. Great. So this is the key. But before we go here, let's because we have a ton of potions. So what do we have? Image, okay, displaced. Okay, we bring all these potions here. We're gonna fill ourselves with potions. So you have, okay, we'll get one. Everyone gets one. So are you? You have one. Turners. So are you? You two. Okay. I wouldn't. So this one is. So you get faster a little bit. Maybe you can get the second one. So this is Constitution for 50. Okay. We have more oil. Oh yeah, we have this. So we get more Constitution. We're gonna give this to Durance. Durance has you. You can get one. You okay? Maybe we can get rid of one of this. Aloth, Helix, Grimoire. Can keep it here. And this is to increase your life, and it's for how many turns? 50 turns. That's good. Oh, you have a lot of this. You don't need one, is enough. Kana, you have that. Okay, everyone has one of those, and this one is displaced image. Yeah, you get this. Yeah, I'm really preparing myself, isn't it? So this one is Wizard's Double. Yep, get this. Potion of Power, attack speed, endurance for... Okay, you have this. Merciless Gaze, 15% converted to hit. Okay. Now you get this. And you get this, maybe. And let's open this. It's this my face, tell me. Okay. Need to talk with thundering sky, rain of blood, innocence must drown. Oh my. Someone has issues. Graham, this man has the look in his eyes of a haunted animal, and only at your approach he staggers backward to the far corner of his cell, halfway appearing as though he would climb the wall if he would get him further away from you. He cries out a bizarre primal utterance like nothing you have heard. So I need to ask you some questions. Graham looks at you blankly. It is unclear whether he understands you or not, but his panic has momentarily subsided. He opens his mouth to speak, but the words that come out are half-formed, and though his tongue were cut out, they are impossible for you to discern, if indeed they are words at all. Alot makes a noise of disgust. Those animancers did this to him. You can see what comes of their meddling. Freyo said you were being treated by Kedman Azo. He looks at you with uncertainty. Slowly, tentatively, he steps closer to the front of his cell, and as he does so, for the first time you can perceive his soul within your kin. It is misshapen, as though made by some jagged instrument, and large expanses of it have been gouged out entirely. You feel no barriers of resistance. If you wanted to, you could look further into Graham's soul. Okay? Peer into Graham's soul. You project out toward the main soul in front of you, merging with it, its confusion and fear becoming yours as it whisks you into its depths. You are in your cell. A key turns. The door cracks open on neglected hinges. Thoughts come to you in waves, incomplete, broken, fearful. Standing at the door is a rotund, balding man. His upper teeth and pointy nose remind you of a rat. He beckons apologetic. You don't want to go. Anything else in your mind is a single word, and the word is no, but it dissolves before it reaches your lips. You press against the back wall, cornered. You cry out. In darkness you fight against unseen restraints. You cannot move your arms or legs. The man walks into the room, carrying a little candle, its meager flame casting long shadows across books and machinery. Straps bind your arms and legs. Cold metal circumscribes the crown of your head and the breadth of your chest. The man is sorry. He is in the need of raw materials. They dismantled his work and he needs another source. He needs to show them he was right. He thanks you. And he turns a knob and you feel yourself begin to crack from within, and you can feel pieces of you torn away, like having your insides chewed by a horde of rats, and you are screaming a scream you can barely hear. Okay, continue searching. Another night, heavy footsteps outside your door, coming for you. You look through a slit in your door. The flesh giant, the artificial being just outside, but facing left, facing the end of the hall. The boy there. The boy looks with interest at the giant, then collapses to the floor like a shed snake skin. The giant convulses for a moment, then rights itself, turns away, and leaves. Okay, decouple from Graham's soul. Graham looks at you, still wild-eyed but somehow more present. He nods at you, then walks back to the end of his cell. Okay.
These poor people. This isn't the treatment that they were promised upstairs by the cushioned seats and lush carpets. Is that the cure for soul sickness? To be thrown into a cell and subjected to the whims of your captor?
So they've made great advances here. I'm sure they know what they are doing. These animancers are as mad as their patients. These are lunatics and wastrels. At least here they serve more purpose. Maybe it is. How would you know? I doubt the wealthier citizens have the same experience. Yeah, these animancers are as mad as their patients. But if all were treated like this, the sanitarium would never survive. What did these patients do to warrant such conditions? There are just as many who come here and are cured of their ills. People who would otherwise be cast aside. Here's the source of all that knowledge you were so giddy about. Yeah, here is the source of all the knowledge you were so giddy about. Kana grimaces. It is one thing to be told as much, another to see it yourself. Let's be on our way. This place nods at the soul. So we need to speak to the patient at the end of the hall. Okay, let's talk with him. A willowy adolescent boy stands in the center of his cell, gawkish and stoop-shouldered. He stared straight ahead. The occasional blink his only movement, and it is unclear whether he registers your presence at all behind his glassy doll-like eyes. In this state, the barriers between your soul and his are thin and porous, easily bypassed if you should wish it. Okay, reach out for his soul. You close your eyes and edge forward towards the boy's soul, and as you near, a sudden malaise comes over you. You are cold and warm all at once, sweating and shivering and straining for breath, as you did on the caravan journey. The soul you approach is the wrong one, a parasitic plant that strangles its host. It is predatory and pitiless, and you have crossed paths with it before. Too late does it occur to you to retract, and already you feel yourself plunging into some interminable abyss of thought and memory. You are standing in a cell now, the same cell in the sanitarium. The halls are moonlit and empty, and you are waiting. At the far end of the ward, the door opens, revealing a flesh golem in silhouette beneath the stone archway. It makes its usual rounds, the same stops every time. The misbegotten child of despotent creators. When the construct is closed, you coil yourself up and spring forward, passing out of the boy's body as though it were a membrane. You can sense the body behind you collapsing to the floor, a puppet whose strings are cut. You're rushing towards the golem now, bodiless as a gust of wind. Quickly, you think to yourself, quickly, and you feel the strength hemorrhaging from your soul as you dart towards the makeshift domination. You pass into the golem's shell and overtake the soul implanted within, encircling it, suppressing it, and contained in this new vessel. You are strong again. You step heavy-footed down corridors unheeded by the other constructs, and scrutinized only by the wary, untrustworthy eyes of the man coming at the last to an office piled with books and scribbled papers and the perverse implementation of animancy. You set your oversized hands upon a large machine, a nest of globes and tubes and coils in the center of the room, and go to work, bending wires and unsettling alignments. Your surroundings are pulled past you, or perhaps you are pulled past them, and they dissolve into a blur. When they settle into place again, you are outside on a clear day, standing in front of a crowd stacked high above you on the tier seats of an amphitheater. You are acting for the crowd, standing deliberately still, but this is no play. A balding man with rodent-like features is strapping you to a machine, the one you had tampered with. You see your arms, for the first time, short and fleshy, unmistakably those of a little girl. But this body is not truly yours. Your mind still holds the same determination, the same hardness as before. The body itself is cold and vacuous. Unlike the others, this one has no soul of its own. The man speaks and the crowd applauds with an enthusiasm worthy of a hero's entrance. "Bear witness," he says, and he pulls a lever. The machine shivers and sparks, and a bed of sweat rolls down the side of the man's brow. But the crowd's apprehension quickly gives way to awe as a crystal globe fills with a radiant mist that casts the entire theater aglow. He opens a valve, and the glow crawls through a tube along a length of copper wiring that runs to a set of electrodes beneath your armpits. You feel nothing when it reaches you, as it should be, for you have been leading his work astray periodically for some time, altering notes and settings and playing puppeteer for Hollowborn. But you make it look how people would expect it to look when a body is infused with a soul. In a moment, the machine goes dark, and the man unstraps you, eyeing with a scientist's concern. He looks back up at your crowd. "Behold," he says, but there is obvious hesitation in his voice. Slowly you take a plodding step forward, then another and another. You look up at the man, giving him the eye contact of which no hollow bone is capable, and the crowd gasps. The man looks relieved. "How do you feel?" he asks at the volume meant for the crowd, and this is the moment. At the top of your lungs, you let out a piercing shriek. The man comes towards you, his hands outstretched, but you run the other way back to the machine. With all your strength, you drive your head into the crystal globe, and it shatters, streaking your head with warm blood. You drive your head down into the surface of the machine again and again, drawing panicked screams from the crowd, and by the time the man reaches you, your body has already ceased proper function and merely twitches on the cold ground. Satisfied, you depart the corpse in search of another unsuspecting host. Who could put their faith in animancy now? You are pulled again from your surroundings, transcending the boundaries of memories and lifetimes, deeper and deeper past betrayals and murders, and lies upon lies that form the thick webbing of plots beyond mortal comprehension. You settle at last on a room you have seen before, expansive, with a tall device encasing an Adra monolith at its center. The room is filled with people, and the people all look at the device. You are yanked suddenly back to reality, and the once catatonic boy in the cell is looking directly at you, appraising, calculating. There is no mistaking now that it is the soul of the man who caused your awakening that gazes out from that borrowed husk. A watcher. "You made me into a watcher. I need you to undo it. I believe we share a common past. I'm just looking for some answers. Not just a watcher, someone who'd break those frail little legs of yours if you don't do exactly what I tell you. I believe we share a common past. I'm just looking for some answers." Is that so? He makes no effort to hide his disinterest, but he continues to search your eyes. He makes a slight grunting noise, and his eyes soften for an instant, and it seems for that moment that he recognizes you. He opens his mouth to speak, that seems to think better of what he was about to say. His jaw tightens. "I know your look, your hunger for answers that elude you. It gnaws at your soul. It usurps your reason for being. You are like everyone. I will help you let go." He dodges backward with startling grace, putting himself out of reach. On his face there is no malice, only the dispassion of a farmer putting down a sick animal. Then suddenly he slumps forward.
Brave thou you leave.
Okay. /deep. Okay. Yeah, this is an AoE. Okay, so Ituma got some damage. Yeah, Ituma. Ooh, it's only red. Tons of red. Okay. Oh my god. Ooh, Eloth.
Yeah.
So red. Yeah, let's ram. Yeah, let's Craze patient.